Hello, trumpet friends. We're going to be going over how to maintain our instrument. This is called the clean assignment, but we're actually going to be going through how to maintain it and keep it working. What you need to have is your valve oil. It might look different than mine. It might say valve oil on it, but it needs to say that. The other thing you need is your tuning slide cream. It needs to look something like cream on the inside. It's going to be kind of goopy, kind of really hard to pull out. Make sure you have both those things. If you don't have them, pause the video now, go to the music store, and get yourself some. This is non-negotiable for this particular exercise. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to oil our valves because that always takes the longest. It's kind of hard for students. So there are two parts to the valve anatomy. There's the valve top and the valve cap at the bottom that seals off the casing. So what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew the bottom of it. Be sure not to untwist the top buttons. You actually need to go to the bottom of it and get it so that it comes out like so. You'll be able to see the full valve. Okay, do that all 3 times. Make sure all 3 of them are available. I have a surface here that is in front of me that has a little bit of a protectant against my table because we're going to be putting valve oil on these valves. Take stock right now. When you look at your valves and they came out, what direction was that little plastic piece right here, that white piece? What direction was it facing? The small one especially. Notice how mine on the back side, I just fell down. Notice mine on the back side, they're a little bit wider. That's important to note because when you go to put your trumpet valves back in, you want to make sure they're going the right direction. Most of the time, the skinny side is facing towards you. Sometimes it's opposite though, so just pay attention to what yours is like before you go too much further. All right, so how do you valve oil? Unscrew the valve oil like so. You're going to, I like to pull mine all the way out of the casing and put a few drops on. Notice how I didn't twist my valve around. And I also get the valve good and oily. Okay, I'm still looking at the correct plastic piece direction. Remember when I just showed you that there's a skinny side and a wide side? Okay, I'm going to put the skinny side towards me because that's the way that my trumpet came. Yours may be slightly different. I'm going to stick it in. I'm going to bounce it around in place, and then I'm going to stick it in all the way, and I'm going to feel it click. Okay, it just clicked. I'm now going to twist down the valve cap and be done with that one. Okay. You can scroll ahead in the video. I'm going to go ahead and do all 3 of my valves real quick. You can watch me do it again. Skinny side towards me. I'm going to get it nice and oiled up. I don't like to do this very often, so I make sure it's nice and gooped up with lots of valve oil. I'm going to listen for it to click and stop moving on the inside of the casing. I'm now going to twist down. Okay. It's all the way tight. I'm not going to put any brute force on it, just a little bit. I'm not going to do the last piece right here, 3rd valve. Okay, this is all done. I'm looking at the skinny side up towards me, towards the sky, face it in, bounce it around, and then lock it in place. Okay, it's not moving anymore. When you go to lock it in place, you could accidentally twist too hard on the top valve cap. It may come undone. If that happens, let me show you what that's like to fix. Let's say you are twisting and you accidentally get the top to come off and the top comes off the valve. Just carefully get it back on there and twist it back down and tighten it. Okay. All right. Now, when my valves are in and I go to twist them, they don't move. Okay. I'm only giving them a little twist. They're not making any movement. And then I'm going to make sure that it blows through my trumpet. If it's wrong, it might sound like this. If that happens to you, that means your valve is twisted in one of the ways. I also want to make sure that you understand that your valves need to go back in the correct holes that they came out of. All of your valves are marked with a number. I'll show you that before we move on. Almost forgot about that. If you look real closely, right there, see that number 1? That's a number 1. That means it goes in the first valve casing. if you have the number 2 in your first valve casing, you might also get weird sounds, which is why when we did this, I had you lay your trumpet down and do one valve at a time. As long as it blows through, you're fine. It's gonna make a bad sound if you can't blow through it and your valves are messed up. Okay, part 2. Okay, so number 1, students, you need to make sure you've oiled all 3 valves on camera. Show me that. Second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna show me one of your, on camera at least, show me one of your tuning slides getting greased up. I don't need to see all of them. This is already kind of nasty. I like to take a cloth and kind of wipe away some of the grit. I'm using a tissue. You can use some toilet paper or an old cloth, but I like to wipe it clean before I go to put goop back on it. But this is a pretty simple process. You're just going to take your thumb here and you're going to grab some goop on your finger. Ooh, yikes, too much. Okay, I've got quite a bit on my finger. Yikes, that's nasty. And it smells. I'm going to get it on my, I'm going to get it on the brassy part. The part that goes inside the trumpet. Okay. Actually, kind of ran out. I'm going to swing it around down here. Okay. This is the one that we really need to work, okay? Of all the slides on the trumpet. If this main tuning slide that goes in the big part doesn't work. Oh, take stock. The water key aims towards you. If you're looking at the trumpet like me, it won't go in the wrong way, or at least it shouldn't. Okay. I'm noticing that there's some excess cream that comes off when I push it all the way in. I'm going to wipe that off with a tissue. And now it should work really good. Okay. So you can do the other ones. Every trumpet's a little different, but push the valve down, pull it out, get those brassy parts that are on the inside, get those lubricated. You don't have to show me that on camera, but you should do it for maintenance sake. Make sure you do a second valve, that does come out. And then your third valve here, make sure you pull that out and get it greased as well. The third valve and the main tuning slide, those two we use the most. We use, for when we play 1 and 3, we use that to kick out with, so that needs to be really easy to move. And we use this one to tune the entire instrument so that we're in tune with the band. So both of those need to be tuned, need to be greased at worst case scenario. Okay. All right. Kind of a gross process, but at the end of the day, it keeps your trumpet working. You can wash your hands with soap and water, and it'll come right off. Okay. If you have any questions and don't know what to do, please reach out to me. Again, on camera, valves oiled, and at least one of your tuning slides greased, preferably the third slide and the main tuning slide. But you can choose to leave one of those off because I know that these videos get kind of long. Okay. Good work. Appreciate you. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.